Hey guys and gals, welcome back. Uh, Almost getting ready to wrap up this application. I thought we would do some UI stuff, get away from coding a little bit on this video. We'll do a little bit just because we're going to get some more information from our weather service. I want to get like the high for the day and the low for the day and a better description. So this we can take out the summary and it'll be more obvious what that part is for. And then I want to add like like an up arrow and a down arrow with a high and low for the day. I think that'll be pretty cool. And then maybe we'll throw some color on the background so we can, I don't know, throw some kind of related background. And, a few things like that. One thing that I noticed off the bat when I launched the simulator is that whenever we use the location update or weather, none of this is going to our like defaults. And I noticed that because the get current weather near me doesn't reset. So we don't call clear UI before we update. So we do it on refresh weather. Doesn't look like we do it on search pressed either. So let's do it in both places. Call it clear UI here. And then quick shortcut is Command Shift and then the left or right arrows on a Mac will select the whole thing. And then when I say get current weather near me, I'll clear the UI. So now when you search, refresh, or get the current weather, it clears it. And all of them use update UI once they get a callback, which fills up the view. So that'll work. Test that out real quick. Also cleaned up my desktop a little bit. You know, I have guests. People are watching me. I should keep a clean screen. And I'm generally pretty OCD. Let's see how this looks. Everything should be fine since we already accepted the permission to use our location. The first time this loads up, it should just pull the current weather in the area based on the simulations, the simulators, whatever it's set to. Sweet. That time we saw that it cleared. Loaded up. Looks good. Next thing I want to do real quick is go to our weather class. Give ourselves some space here. We don't need any of these. And then let me refresh this so it's, I guess, relative to now. So the summary in this case for the current weather is light rain, which is not a bad description, but this one is a lot nicer. Possible light rain stopping at 50 minutes is a lot more specific. This is for the minutely. We don't want to do that. We don't want hourly either. But if we do daily, if we collapse all of these, you can see that there should be 8 of these. And that's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. You would assume there's 7 because, daily meaning for the week. So the first one looks like it has the same information as our current weather. It just has a bunch of extra stuff which we can use, like apparent temperature and stuff like that. I'm not gonna get like super detailed into it, but I just want to do the temperature high, temperature low, and then use this more detailed summary. And I think that'll just help overall. So right now we're just getting currently, and we also need to get daily. So right now we're getting currently with this block. So I put a comment here. This is daily for better summary and high-low. So I was thinking about if we could just use this itself rather than get it from both, but it looks like this doesn't have like a current temperature. It has highs and lows and that makes sense because it's not supposed to. We could also get like a sunrise sunset time, but I guess just looking at the time at the app, I don't know where that would go. It's good to know that you could get that, and I already showed you in the video, I believe it was called handling dates in iOS, how you do that. So you could get like the sunrise and the sunset and make some kind of like animation to show where the sun is in the sky, something like that. You could do something cool. We're not going to do that here, but I do want to get the high-low. Looks like we don't have to get the summary anymore, so I'll just cut that out. We can get the temperature, humidity, and icon the same way. And then I'll just double check that we're in the right area. So yeah, so that's where it ends. And then I'll say from let daily weather equals weather dictionary, and then I believe it was daily, that as, now we gotta be careful as to what this type is. So the general hint is that the curly brackets are dictionary types, and these, I guess, square brackets are array types. So arrays have multiple elements of the same type. So this is an array of dictionaries. So when I say get daily, I can say that this is a dictionary. So the whole thing is a dictionary, so that's fine. So I can say daily as a string any dictionary. Cool. And then from that we have to get data, which is an array of dictionaries. So I'll say if let data equals daily weather data as, so this is a little weird, right? So this is how you would say, so the square brackets on the outside say it's an array, and then this is the type, and it happens to be something that's contained in square brackets. But if it was an array of strings, then it would look like this. This would indicate an array of strings. But in our case, it happens to be an array of dictionaries, so this is how it's going to look. So it looks something they could easily like miss a bracket or define incorrectly. So data will get us this here, and then basically we need the first thing out of the data. And then I'll say if let today's weather equals data, I believe there's a dot first that we used before. So it's an option. You can see the question mark here says, so it's an optional dictionary. So that's why we're doing the if let. So this safely accesses the data, and then we can start doing checks. So then I'll say if let summary equals today's weather. I'll double check if these are the right definitions. This will be a string. I'll say self dot, what do we call her? Self dot summary. So you noticed up here I wrote current temp, and then so there was like a distinction between temperature and current temperature. I technically don't have to do that. I like to do that just because it doesn't hurt. It's a little bit longer. I have to type a little bit more. Generally, having this self here is done because we're in a closure, but it also specifies that we're saying self basically means this class, this weather class, and then we're saying dot summary. So we're saying this is the summary we're talking about, and when we write summary like this, you see that there's no error. It knows what we mean. But I like to be like over explicit, which some might argue is unnecessary, but I think it's good when you come back and look at it later, so you're definitely not unsure as to what it is. So from that we want the current summary, and then we can get summary is the same name, data is correct, and daily are all spelled right. Just want to check that. Cool. And then we also want the temperature high and temperature low, which we need a couple variables for our temperature. I have to pronounce some words strangely. to remember them. Temperature. Just a weird quirk. And when I program long enough, and I don't know if other people experience this, but words start looking like they're spelled wrong to me for whatever reason. Temperature. Like if I look at string long enough, I'll feel like it's spelled wrong. Temperature low, camel case, temperature high. And they're both doubles. Cool. So, I don't know if I explained this before. There's going to be some repetition, but I just want to... This is... Speed low. Yeah, so what I was saying was, I don't know if I'm repeating, but if you're wondering, or if I haven't explained yet, why it's necessary to specify what we're trying to get this value as, it's because up here when I defined today's this daily weather, I said that it's an array of string any's, and I have to say that because this dictionary is strings, which you can see. The key is what it's called, is always a string, and the second value, a lot of the times they're doubles, but then there's an occasional string for the icon or the summary, and so you can't assume that you know the type of the value. You can look at the data type, and it probably is documented well to say that the keys you can expect it to be a string, but since I have it as any, I can't set I can't do self.current, or what is it called, temperature low. I can't just assume that it is. I have to specifically say get the temperature low, try to make it a double. If you can, then set it. So that's why, if you were wondering, self.temperature high equals current high. Looks pretty sweet. So now we got a better summary, I think. Let's see where it was that we were putting that summary label. I don't like having labels if I don't need to. It probably means that it's not placed in a way that it's obvious. So it's right here. And since this is a string, we can just say weather.summary. And then what we can do real quick is say iOS arrow icon. I want to get like an up and down arrow, maybe like a green and a red arrow. Something like that to indicate like high and low. What is this? Okay. This is kind of cool. This works too. I mean, I guess this is where it gets into like design questions. I generally am not like super big on design, honestly, so like a lot of those things I kind of outsource, but I like these arrows. I don't know if this is clear. I guess this is clear as like a up down. This is 2. I like how this looks, and then I guess we can just put this here and then just stagger high. We could do that. Let's do that actually. We can do this, and then we'll just make the temperatures themselves different colors rather than and we can make a choice whether we want this to be colorful or not. It would be cool if we could change the individual colors, which I don't believe we can. We could change these. We could get one of each. Here, let's do that. Let's get one of each. And if I remember correctly, some of these you can change the color of anyways. That looks pretty cool. That doesn't meet our general idea. Alright, I'm gonna go back since I can click through more of these and find one that's colorful, which is maybe what I would do if I wasn't making a video. But let's download these. mentioned it before, but I want to mention it again. Support these websites that give all the free assets. I do for any app that I'm going to actually post anywhere, add to the App Store, and just they have different requirements they want. They want a link to it or a shout out, or if you use the API, you have to use licenses and things like that. It's like a more tedious part of like doing app development, but you have to give credit where it is, where it's due. High-low arrows. Let's call it that. Let's go to our assets here. Cool. Drop that in there. Go to our storyboard. We'll add another image view. One thing that you can do is like you can click on something, hit Option, hold Option, and pull out and copy something like this. I generally don't like to do that, and I'll tell you why. So this image has a connection, and if we actually open this up, not that we have so much space, but if we open this up and we hover over it, actually I guess opposite, we hover over it, you'll see it highlight what it's referring to, which is pretty cool. So you can see like where all your connections hook up. Sometimes when you copy things, they inherit connections to things, and then you have like you'd have like two image views affected by the same connection and get updated and stuff. So in this case, I'm just gonna leave it alone because it didn't happen, but be wary of that if you do decide to use the option and drag to like duplicate something. It's easier sometimes because like the constraints are set. So in this case, if we look at it, I believe the height and width will be set. Yeah, so the height and width are set, but like its actual positioning constraints aren't, so it's not a big deal. We can set this by going to the details, or attribute inspector, I believe this is called. Yeah, attribute inspector. Get our high-low arrows. Cool. This is going to be an icon. I think this needs to be a little, I think it has to be noticeably smaller relative to the icon. I'll say center vertically. I'm going to hold shift and do horizontal spacing as well, just so you don't have to keep clicking in and out. I think it could be a little, this is just like preference, but I think visually it should be a fair amount smaller. I also think it should be a little bit closer. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So this doesn't need a connection, which is cool. Move this over. So I normally have two screens, so I have a much larger screen that I do this on, but for the sake of the video, gotta do it this way. Okay, so now we're gonna need a couple of labels. So if you remember, labels are things that can represent text, statically sized text. We could do it with one label, we could do it with two. Like I could do one label and then just have a return, like a new line, and then do it like that, or I can do two separate labels. I'm gonna do two separate labels. So then this will be like 100, and in this case I would use option click before I set anything on it. Keep it lined up with the blue line so it stays like how you'd want. Then I'm gonna say relative to this one, keep the vertical spacing, center it horizontally. So that'll snug it over. It's gonna be red right now because this doesn't have any properties. And then what I'm gonna do is pull it to this, and I'm gonna say align it to the top, which is like, I'll show you right now what it does, and also horizontal spacing. Bam. So the top makes their tops align. I'm gonna select both of these by doing command and click on both. I edit both of their sizes. We haven't really gone into fonts and stuff, but like a pretty classic one is the Helvetica Neue. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but that's how I pronounce it. And then we can like make it bold or something. Oh, I hate that. Absolutely hate that. Light's cool. Don't like how this is looking. I think I'm gonna go back here instead of having it aligned to the top of the icon image. Oh, that's another thing. It has the same name. That's so weird. That's another weird side effect. High-low arrows. Call it that. See, that threw me off when I was gonna say I want to align it to the icon image, but then it said it is aligned to the icon image, and I was like, it's completely not possible. And then looks like from the design standpoint that I'm trying to do, I don't want it to be related to each other. I want this to align to the bottom of the image, and I want the top to align to the top, like that. And then what I'll go and do is I'll make this like a green. Where is it? Color. I use color picker to make it like some kind of like a darker shade of green. And then we'll make this like a darker shade of red. And now that they're colored, I don't know if I like the font. I think we're gonna leave it for now. I'm gonna give it another label, so I'll say high temp label. If you don't remember, control, press and hold, and then drag. And just drop it there. Low temp label. It's an outlet. And then in our update UI and in our refresh UI, it's important that we update these. So say high temp label, that text equals, it's going to be a double, so we're going to have to put it in these quotations like we usually do. We're going to say weather dot, let's see if we saved it or not. Temperature, see temperature high, there you go, here. Temperature high, and then low temp label dot text. As you can see, a lot of these variable names and stuff are pretty long. It's not really great, but I think just for clarity, I've left them to be that way, and I don't think it hurts. And I think for these, we'll just do like, oh, and that reminds me, we should add our little Fahrenheit symbol that we have from earlier, because it looks sweet. And it doesn't hurt. And here, take out that, I don't know, it's called hyphen, dash, I call it a dash. Sweet, we have it updating from the weather, we have it clearing, we have all the stuff. Let's see if without running a test one time, we can get this through. We can get this through, the video's over. Actually, no, I don't want to say that. I do want to add like a splash of color in the background or something. Thinking maybe we can find like a web service that returns like a random cool image and we can put it as our background. Or, you know, find 5 or 6 or maybe even just, you know, one standard background and use that. But let's see what's going on. I want to close that. Go to our view controller, since most issues that we're going to have are going to be very obviously there, like from parsing or something, but I think we took our time, done it enough. I'm not as rusty because we've been doing it. I think it should work. Feel pretty confident. And bets are closed. Ooh, a little splash of color. Okay, first thing, love the new summary. Heavy rain in the morning and overnight. Dope. Way more helpful. 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Looks a little plain. I think we should mix it up. The icon looks miniature to me right now. I don't know why. And also our high-lows aren't being converted to a double. So there's a few things to do. Let's go here, I think is where we were converting it. Current temp as double, self.current temp Hmm. Or was it that I was converting it? Oh, I was getting the integer version. Actually, I don't like doing this in general. I mean, it's not like when you convert double to an integer, it's not an optional or anything. You're gonna get a value back. But I'd rather do it back there, I guess, as an experiment, since we're, this is a learning experience for everybody. I want to see if I can convert these to integers, even though here in the data, um, they're, double types. I think it might work. I think it's just going to cut off the end of it, which would be cool. Now it's going to complain that it expects low and high to be doubles. So we change those to ints. Doubles are going to have a dot zero, but if you want to specify, you can do it like that, just to be super sure. Obviously, we'd get an error if we had an issue. What else do we want to do? A few things. The icon's tiny. We gotta make high and low int. We just did. I think the text and stuff needs like some differentiation in style, size and stuff. It's just not pleasing to look at. I know we're not like gonna get too deep into that right now, but at the end, I promise it's gonna look, let's say, decent. So everything under this is related to that image. So when we adjust its height and width, it's gonna move everything down. Let's say 60 by 60. Keep it square. Okay. Now that's gonna look super weird. Maybe adjust these. Maybe adjust the size on these. Change to these arrows. Make them bold. They're both Helvetica Neue. Condensed bold. Well, condensed black. I'm okay with that. For now, I'm not a design guy. I'm here to teach you coding. Don't follow my design principles. I think the thing looks okay right now, but in general, that's just a good rule of thumb. So it looks like our temperature label, that looks fine. I thought I saw an extra, I think it was on the UI, yeah, right here. So extra closing parentheses. Cool. And then let's say for the summary, should just change up the sizes a little bit. For the summary, let's say, not system, there's a font that I really like called Noteworthy, just kind of like funky. And then if you saw there was like, it got to the very, very end of the line, I'd be curious to see what happens if it's like a crazy amount of information. It's gonna stretch. It's not gonna stretch. It's gonna cut off the line. It's gonna put dot dot dot. To avoid that, there's a few things you can do. You can give it more lines. What I generally do is one of two things or both. I give it 0 lines, which means stretch as needed, which is dangerous sometimes, but I don't think this thing is gonna be crazy long. And also, for auto shrink here, it controls, how far the font will go down if necessary, based on like screen width and how much text and stuff. So I'll do like, you can go, 70% of what the current font size is. So that's cool. You can also check the option to like tighten up the spacing a little bit, which I don't want to do. But besides that, that should be all right. And then, what labels are these? So this is the summary label. This is, the temperature label. I accidentally changed the temperature label. That's what happens when I have unhelpful, icons. So I don't really need to do this for that. It's gonna be 2 characters no matter what. this I can make, let's say, noteworthy, I think has a light version. Yeah, so that'll be light. This should be bold, let's call it. We're being very bold, changing so many things at once. Probably should not. Hit that minimum font scale. 0.7, 17. That's fine. And then our humidity and our time, let's just make it a little smaller. We'll make it look as nice as it's gonna look later, but let's hit this up. Let's see some of these changes. I think the icon being bigger is gonna be cool. I like the changes to the high and low temperature too. We'll see what it looks like right now. And then while that's loading, let's go over here. I want to see if like random weather, not weather, random image URL. That's exactly what I wanted to search. And I promise I haven't searched this before. Lorem Pixum. Just put your image size within height after our URL and you'll get a placeholder image. Lorem Pixum. That's funny. That's very punny. Random images, random images. I'm a little worried about these because then we're gonna have to make our text work no matter what. And not every color will work. I mean, white is gonna work for most things. For now, let's say nice landscape photo, whatever. These look pretty cool. Don't know which one we should use. This could be sweet just because it's kind of taller. That's a moon. See what it looked like anyways. Actually, I'm very surprised at that. I don't know to you guys, but that kind of looks more, I don't know what the word is, appy to me. Why didn't we get a current weather back though? That is peculiar, is what I'd call it. Unless I was, oh, okay, I forgot. That's one of the things we tried. We were trying to see if a double could be turned into a bool like that with that optional. So it obviously can't. And as you can see, you know, no harm, no foul, because we're using it like this. We didn't get any error. Obviously, we didn't get a clear reason, but it's not about us being able to find out if we made a mistake easily. It's about the user having a good experience. So in that case, they would be like, oh, whatever, that's weird. There's no high and low, but like their app wouldn't crash. So that's the last thing we don't want to do. So I changed it back to a double, and then we'll just do what we were doing for the other one, which is just wrap it in a integer. So what this is, I don't believe I mentioned for the last one, is casting. So in some cases, it's not for sure that you can get a number back, but in this case, making a double into integer just means take off the decimals at the end. And then we're going to display it like that. Play one more time. Let's go look at our pictures again. I just want to see something that's not going to look bad with the text colors that we have right now. A lot of it might look weird. I feel like we're going to have to change the general color scheme in any case, but I just want to throw something back there. You know what? I'm going to leave this. I think it looks pretty cool. The icon maybe can go even a little bit bigger. I think the fonts look pretty cool. I might change like the humidity and the time one, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with it. I really like this noteworthy one. It's very like funky, pretty cool. I like that these are blocky. I think it's clear what we're trying to say. Design wise, maybe it can be down here by the regular temperature thing. I don't know. We'll think about that on the next one. Let's just throw something in here. Let's throw something in here just because we can. Just because we can. This looks pretty sweet to me. Alright, steal this image. Sorry, whoever's image it is. I am not publishing this. Background. Go to assets. You can organize assets more, but I think it's fine. This is gonna look weird. I'm just gonna tell you because it's like a square. It's like a rectangle photo. We gotta put it on the. We'll see right now. We'll see right now. I don't think I can just set the background. I haven't done this in a while. So what I'm gonna do is this can actually be a good kind of lesson. So I want to throw imagery in, right? When I put it in, it kind of arbitrarily like decides where it goes, like relative to one thing or another. What I needed to do is I needed to be behind everything. So this order is not just like any random order. So when I put this image view behind everything, let me put the background in so you can see. And let's say we'll set the constraints of this to be 0. You can hit tab 0, 0, 0. You know it's activating because these turned red instead of being like unhighlighted. And I can put add constraints. So this looks like it's complaining. There's a lot of complaints. Let's see why. This is at the end here. It's still gonna complain. Let me read one of these and see what the general complaint is. 10 views are vertically ambiguous. It's saying since it was originally, I think it has to do with this. So if we say relate the icon image, I'm gonna put this back up here. If I say relate the icon image to the background image, vertical spacing. Take that out. Okay, so that's basically what we wanted, but looks like everything is gone, which is not what we wanted. So unless I remembered incorrectly, I thought it might be a spacing thing. Hold on here. So the icon image is 452 and it's the bottom. Okay. So icon image needs to have vertical spacing. It's gonna keep saying this, huh? I'm just gonna bring it on screen by giving it like a negative value. Okay, so these are all fine. Top space to search is not correct at all. So this background image should have a top space to the top, to the safe area, like the rest of these. Top space to high lower. That's not doing at all what I want to do. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna do Control Z. fix all this terribleness. And see if this works or not. So if you see the thing I was saying about it being below everything works fine, but just the way I was like relating everything was messing with it. So I'll do that like that. Top space search is not accurate at all. Okay, so no more complaints somehow. Cool. And align top to safe area is fine now. These are not going to show well at all. So let's just, I don't know if I can adjust this because it's an image. So that's not going to be clear. But let's take these text labels. Summary, humid, time, temperature. And let's make them all white. So we can see them against this specific background. And then let's do this refresh indicator. It was originally white, and then I can just put it back to that. And then this refresh button is also, I don't think we can like tint it or anything. But I'm not gonna even like mess with the size of the photo or anything. I'm just gonna hit play. Kind of looks okay even though it's stretched out, but I think it's gonna look better than a plain white background. Just add a little bit of color to our app. Great job, guys. The app is pretty much put together to where I wanted it to be by the end of the series. I just want to go through and clean up the UI, maybe move around some elements before we're all said and done. Maybe limit the search bar to have a zip code only, because I think that's more of a regular use case. Everything seems to work like it should, which I'm really happy about. Say the next video is probably going to be the last one. We're going to clean up the UI a little bit. One thing that we're not addressing because we haven't had to is if this is connected here, you'll see that this keyboard comes and covers our search bar, and we can't get rid of it. So we're going to make it next video that we can touch and the keyboard will go away, or hitting return will also make the keyboard go away. And if we want, we can actually make it so hitting return will also do the search. And obviously, you know, based on this screen size and where everything's positioned, the keyboard covers the search bar, so we can't even see it. So that's like one of those things that you wouldn't see on the simulator. And in this case, it's because I have Connect hardware keyboard by default. See you in the next video. We're going to take care of those little things, and then we're pretty much done. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for dealing with the errors and stuff. I hope you learned something. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you found it helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.